Hey Printers, welcome back. Bruce from Printavo. We are here hanging out with Ranger in Denton, Texas, over at the awesome Normon Roscoe. Really cool shop on like a main street here.
It's a Denton Square.
Denton Square.
They call the historic square.
Okay, yep. Denton Square, beautiful Denton, Texas, which is known for
arts, music. We've got UNT here, so a lot of talent comes out of the college here. It's known for its jazz program. Just really talented, a lot of talented musicians have come out of this town, and we're seeing more and more stay here after they graduate and really plant themselves in the town and make it what it is. It's a really fun, unique town just outside of Dallas. So you don't really feel like you're part of Dallas when you're here, although you're only about 20 miles north.
Real quick though, this beauty was right out front when my Uber just dropped me off. What is this all about? Because this was so cool. I have like a small little dream to have an old pickup truck like this.
It was our dream as well. We'd been looking for a while. We thought we were going to get a van, an old Econoline van, and we realized that Ford actually made a truck that was an Econoline back in the 60s. This is a 1961 Ford Econoline. Found it in the Northeast. Already painted our colors, so we thought it's meant to be. How can we not purchase it?
Yeah, wait, so was it this red and it matched the red accent you have?
Yes, it was exactly as is.
Yeah,
and
meant to be.
It was crazy, and it just seemed serendipitous. So we sight unseen, or not test driving or anything, we just bought it, had it trailered down, and it's turned out to be an awesome vehicle, low maintenance, and we used it for anything from parades to anything that draws attention. There's a car show here every year that we put it in, and the dream one day will maybe to do live printing events out of the back of it.
There'd be some cool live. Can we see the inside real quick?
Yep. You got your manual transmission, so right there on the steering column you see where you shift into the gears. It only has 3 gears, so it puts along pretty well.
That is really cool. It's got that old car smell too.
Oh yeah.
Can't smell it through the video, but I can promise you it does.
Also, the crazy thing is the engine is right there in between the 2 front seats.
Oh really?
Yeah. Yep.
Is it kind of loud or?
It's pretty loud, and it gets a little warm in the summer, but it's not terrible.
Show us what's going on here. Why did you guys pick this location too? Most shops obviously more so in a warehouse district, but of course you've got some retail, which we'll see. But was this the first location or what?
This is our, like most printers, we started in a garage. We were there for about 2 years, printing at night, early mornings, weekends. We finally jumped into a warehouse about 7 years ago. We were in a standard bay door, white walls, industrial park type warehouse.
Yeah.
And this building here was vacant, and we had the opportunity to kind of squat here for about a year and have a little pop-up shop. And we were just trying out little designs here and there that were Denton-centric. And it was slow. It was kind of one of those things where we had 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
What year was this?
This is 2006.
Okay.
2007. So we kind of had 1 foot in, 1 foot out, where we didn't know if it was going to last or not, so we didn't want to invest too much money in it, but we knew this location was a golden opportunity, so we wanted to try and make the most of it.
Yeah.
And so over time, we got our name became more and more known in the area, and we kept investing more and more into it until finally the opportunity came that we could go full-time in this location. So we uprooted everything out of our old warehouse, moved all production into this old 100-year-old building. And it's small, and we really have to maximize the use of our space, but you can't beat this location. You can't beat the vibe of this shop. It's an old hardware store. It was a hardware store for about 70 years, and you still have a lot of the history of that old hardware store in our current shop. So.
Okay. Now, was this street, because this street's kind of happening, right? There's like people walking around, there's like restaurants. Was it like this when you guys first started?
Yes, but I would say in the last 10, 15 years, it's really become what it is now. It hasn't been like this, there was a lull there probably in the 90s where the square wasn't what it is now.
Got it.
So we're really kind of in the sweet spot right now where everything's running on all 4 cylinders on this square right now.
Okay, cool. And give a quick shout out, of course, to your partner who's doing a cool show.
Yep.
Maybe shout out his band too real quick.
Yep. So Eric Polito, my business partner, my best friend of the last 20 plus years. We were roommates in college. He's in a band called Midlake, and they're touring in along Atlanta, I think in Georgia right now, doing a festival. And so I wish he was here right now, but I'm sure he's here in spirit.
Yeah, that's all good. Check out Mid-Lake.
Yep.
All right, yeah, let's check out the retail side.
The family that owned the building and still owns it, they're the Evers family, and it was called the Evers Hardware Store. And you can see here on the plate of the door, it still says Evers. That was from when it was the hardware store.
Oh, wow.
So we still refer to this building as the old Evers building. And I come from a background of vintage clothing. I made a living buying and selling t-shirts from the 70s and 80s, all through my 20s. And so what you'll see in our shop mostly is vintage inspired tees. And it just comes from, that's what I still love, that's what I still am inspired by. So all of our designs are pretty much taken from old designs that we recreate or reimagine to have our branding in it. Yeah, I'm a product of the 80s and born in 1980, so I still have a lot of ties to just the nostalgia that I grew up with. So.
Very cool.
Yep.
I mean, tell me a little bit about the design of the store. It's got like a very cool, I don't want to say gift shop, but like a very cool like soul to it with, you've got screens back there, you've got all kinds of different designs. I mean, and then plus though, you've got some cool other items, I'll say. I'm assuming walk-in traffic's big. It's all pro Denton or like pro Texas stuff, which is really neat.
Yeah.
Is that really what the drive is to drive retail sales? Do you guys do online too?
Yeah, we just see a huge opportunity for it because there are other shops in town that do things kind of similar, but
yeah.
We thought we had a unique edge on it, doing the vintage inspired thing. And so we do have a side of the store that's very Denton-centric. We also have a side of the store that's very Texas-centric, where it's a line of shirts called Texas Tea House. And it's all vintage-inspired Texas teas. And then we also have our own branded Normon Roscoe line. So we kind of divide the shop up like that. My business partner, Eric's wife, worked for Nordstrom as a visual merchandising manager for almost 20 years probably. And so she works in our shop as well and does a lot of the visuals and displays and arranging of the shop. So it's a group effort. We all have our own vibe, our own influence, and you can see our thumbprint of each one of us, from our employees to owners, all over the shop. And we're all pretty harsh critics, so if it gets past our team of 10 people, then we usually land on something pretty cool.
I love it. So yeah, I mean, walk me through, because there's so many different cool things here, right? Like,
sure.
Even the way it's laid out, like, are these original?
Yeah, these are all original from when it was a hardware store. And if you look over here, this ladder is what they used to use to get nuts and bolts up from the top, and you would just travel along the top of this. And we've heard stories of somebody bringing in a washer, and the gentleman working would look at it, know exactly where to go, climb up and find it. Just amazing, amazing. So we try to keep as much of the original architecture of the building intact, and then just reuse it in our own spin, our own way.
Very cool.
Yep.
And then so using the cabinets for teas, and it looks like there's branded coffee.
Yes, branded underwear. So yeah, anything we can put our name on, we do. We've got matchbooks here with our name on it, old style keychains and enamel pins, notebooks. And then we've got candles over here. A local candle maker makes those for us. We have a local coffee shop that made a special blend for our shop. We call it the 9 a.m. blend.
The 9 a.m. blend.
Then the tagline is the best part of sleeping in. We all like our sleep in the morning. So we got boxers.
Are you wearing these right now?
I'm actually
free balling?
Yeah.
And you guys do a lot of cool videos too, I noticed. So on your Instagram, on YouTube, you make these like short films.
Yes.
What's that about?
So we work with a company called Weekend Video, and they were a customer first. We printed T-shirts for them, and really loved what they did. Their vision aligns really well with what we are inspired by, and so we got together for a lunch one time and just said, hey, we're thinking about doing a video, and they came back a week later with an incredible vision for what they saw us doing, and we were just blown away by what they did. And so we just, every time we had the budget, we would reinvest it in doing another short video, and we love it. We feel like we don't take ourselves very seriously, and we love laughing at ourselves, and so they do a good job of bringing that out of us and showing that we're just a couple knuckleheads that are still trying to figure out what we're doing, you know, here and faking it till we make it.
Have you found people say like, oh, I saw your video, and then, you know, want to purchase something or do a custom deal, or is it more just like a fun culture thing?
Yeah, it's a mixture of both. Anytime we get a lot out of town business, like if we're printing something for somebody at, say, in California, it's usually something like that. They saw something of someone else that somehow they got our name, because we don't do much advertising. You know, it's very word of mouth. So I do think this video got some mileage whenever we first released it. It was the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
And so people were home. It was just good timing, even though things were uncertain and money was tight. I feel like it was a good investment because it reached a lot of people.
That's super cool.
So right here we've got, this is a lot of our own original shirts. We've got, here's a good example of one that's vintage inspired from the Best Little Whorehouse in Texas was the original design, but we recreated, say, the Best Little Tea House in Texas. So,
Everything.
yeah, we coming from a retail background, just know the importance of that, and that's maybe one other thing that sets us apart is maybe a lot of printers don't come from a retail background.
Do you push online sales pretty heavily with this stuff too, or is it mostly in person?
It's probably half and half.
Really?
Yep.
And is online through any Facebook ads or things like that, or is it more?
We do ads every once in a while. We actually tried to hire a company 2 years ago to help us with online ads, and that definitely moved the dial a lot. It helped us get in front of a lot more people. But I think, again, it's word of mouth. We may have somebody wear something of ours, tag us in it on Instagram. It reaches their audience, and things just have a way of organically growing without you even sometimes trying. Right. As you probably know, sometimes despite your best efforts, you know, you don't grow. So sometimes you just have to rely on other people to be a champion for you and go and be your megaphone.
Sure. Would you, like, is it split between custom and retail as far as sales goes?
It's funny you asked that. I was talking with Jared from Rockford Art Deli not long ago, and because I know he does something similar with a retail split and production, and we're kind of opposite ends. I think he's on like the maybe 70% retail and 30% production or something like that, and we're kind of on the other end. We're 70% production and 30% retail.
Got it.
And we'd love to balance that out more, but we were a production shop before we were a retail shop, so I think it's just people still associate
That's
us
the
with
foundation.
being, yes, but we'll get there. I mean,
is that where you think most of the growth has been in the last couple of years? Is still the wholesale side?
I think it's both.
Okay.
I think it's both. I think I think that we're seeing. There's been seasons where, you know, we'll see retail's really down for some reason this quarter, but production was way up, and then it'll kind of flip flop. But it doesn't change much from that 70-30 split over the last like 3 or 4 years.
Got it. Cool. Yeah, let's check out the, I'm interested in seeing the counter real quick too.
Yeah. So as you come back this way, here's a whole section of vintage tees. So these are, you know, straight from the 70s, 80s graphic tees that we sell in our shop, and kind of going full circle with how we started this whole thing. So you can see a lot of these shirts are just random graphic tees that we're still inspired by and still try to achieve this look and feel. A few years ago, when we were at the trade show in Long Beach, actually, this is my favorite blank tee, Screen Stars, and I actually talked to Fruit of the Loom, who originally printed Screen Stars, and asked them why they wouldn't recreate this shirt because it's so iconic, and I wish they would. That's kind of on my dream, is that we could get that line back into production.
Where do you find these?
We find them all over. Anywhere from rag houses to estate sales.
What's a rag house?
Rag houses are I grew up around them. They're these huge import-exporting businesses that bring in truckloads of vintage, or not vintage, just used clothing. So all over the East Coast, instead of bales of hay, you'll have bales of used clothing that just go to these facilities, and they sort them and then ship them out to third world countries or wherever they end up living.
Interesting.
But growing up there, I would dig through there on my spare time in high school and try to find vintage t-shirts, and then you pay for them and go about your way. And that's what started this whole obsession of mine.
You know, that's really interesting. We were in Costa Rica just for a vacation, I remember seeing like certain like FUBU and like other brands that were popular here
exactly what it
maybe
is.
20 years ago or so, and then have made it there, but they look new.
That's exactly what it is. Yep. There's
Cool.
a huge market where they get shipped out and the pricing is right, and that's why you might see a kid somewhere in another country wearing a Mickey Mouse T-shirt or something, you know, from Disney World.
Rag houses.
Yep.
The more you know.
The more you know.
Starts.
Yeah. Yep.
Very cool. All right, and then what's the trains reference? I see a lot of.
Yep, that's my dad. He's really into old trains, and this is spillover from his own collection. He'll get new ones or change the gauge of his tracks, so he needs to buy all new engines or carts. So he'll give them to me, and we set them up here, and we actually ran them for a while, but there would become so much buildup on the tracks that they'd get stuck sometimes, and it just was a lot of maintenance, and we couldn't get them to just run day in, day out all the time, so now they're just stationary. And one day we hope to do some sort of track that goes around the entire shop, and then it'll just circle all the time, which would be a lot easier, because this one went there and back, and something about that movement causes issues more than having just a circular, continuous motion.
Got it. Super cool.
Yep. And this is our Texas Tea House line down here, all along this section. We work with another designer named Brett, who's a really good friend of ours. And he helped us launch this Texas Tea House line, again, based on designs of the 70s, 80s, and then we put our twist on it, and then tried to have a subscription service for a while, and it did all right, but it didn't do what we had hoped it would do in the amount of time we hoped, so then we just decided to start focusing on traditional retail for moving them. We're huge fans of Andy Warhol. So this is a section of all things Andy Warhol. And that's a lot of what you see around the shop. A lot of these banners are Andy Warhol-esque.
It's like, this is the Andy Warhol shrine.
Yes, it is. It is. And then on this side, we have a lot of just random designs and Denton-centric designs. So I got familiar with Procreate with an iPad a few years ago. So a lot of these are just vintage designs that I recreated through that, and tried my hand at learning how to use Procreate, and it's a really powerful tool and something really that made it a lot easier for us to take something that we wanted to try and recreate and have it done pretty quickly.
Yeah. And I noticed, so do you guys make your own boxes as well?
Yes.
Or you just order them?
We do both. All the ones you see in the shop, we just screen printed on our press. And then we got to the point that we did a bulk order of printed boxes about a year ago, and those are more of a standard case size of like 72 shirts. We had those printed, but any sizes that are off from that, or kind of your not standard size, we still will print them in the shop.
Cool.
Just using water-based inks. Another cool seller in our shop are these vintage mugs. Eric's brother Chris is really big into hunting estate sales, and so he finds us vintage mugs a lot, and that's become kind of a fun side of our business, that people will come in here and always want to see what the newest vintage mugs we have. We're all big coffee drinkers here, so it makes sense that we'd be into
creating a bit of a cult. I like it.
Yep.
So, I see an auto back here.
Yes.
How did it get in there? Because I mean,
come on
I see
back.
these little doors
come
in
on
the
back.
front.
I'll show you. So Courtney's here working retail.
What's up, Courtney?
Courtney works all the retail in our shop.
Good.
And then Ruth's working with quoting, using none other than Printavo right there on the screen right now.
Ding!
We live and die by Printavo. It's that was, besides our rock, probably the biggest aha moment in our shop was getting Printavo. And you didn't pay me to say that, but it's absolutely true. So if you come on back to the back of the shop, Zach and Isaac are working on this press right now.
What's up, Zach and Isaac? Oh, 2.
Yeah, we crammed 2 into this place. This is a newer fit, and it barely fits. We've got a double door down here with this 100-year-old lift that we got a lot of the equipment in, and then on the back, we actually took apart this entire porch and had a forklift that would come up to this and try to get everything into the shop. But it was one of those things where when we got everything in the shop, we said, that's it, we're not doing this again. If we're ever moving, it's because we went out of business, but we're not going to change locations after this. It was a nightmare getting everything in here.
Wait, so they took apart
we took everything off, and then we kept this so we could get a forklift up here.
Got it.
And then this other door opened up here. But it was a nightmare,
and
honestly.
The floor held it, or did you guys have to reinforce anything?
We just put reinforcement with large metal plates, but other than that, we didn't do anything to the structure of the floor.
Nice. All right.
We just said our prayers and still do.
Still to this morning?
Yeah, yep.
With the 9 a.m. coffee? So how does it flow, you know, from garments, mixing ink, making screens, all that? Is there an upstairs too?
There's a downstairs and an upstairs. So I can show you the downstairs. That's where all the pre-press goes on, all the dirty work of reclaiming and exposing screens and storing screens and doing vinyl stickers, and all that's in the basement.
Okay.
And upstairs, we've got the same size of this building up there, but because it's an old building and it's not ADA, up to ADA requirements, then we can't use it for production. So we just use it for storage, and we're building an office up there right now, and trying to make it as usable as possible without running production up there.
Okay. Yes, let's do start wherever you think is best then.
When garments come into the shop, our UPS driver usually brings them in through the front door. We'll wheel them back here to the back, put them on our lift, and they'll go up to the top floor where we'll then sort everything and get everything staged for jobs.
Got it.
So yeah, this lift gets used quite a bit for going up and down with jobs.
Oh, wait. Does this go all the way up?
Yes. So if you see right here, we've got this crank right here that you push up, and you'll see this starts to move up with a pulley system.
Wow.
And that's as fast as it goes, so it's painful. Man, if you forget something up there and have to bring it down,
you usually forget it?
Sorry, you gotta use the stairs, buddy. And then the same thing, going down, it'll go all the way down to the basement. So at the end of the day, if we've got screens to reclaim or things to take down there, we'll just lower it on the lift, and somebody will be downstairs and one person here, and we're yelling at each other, hey, tell me when to stop, you know?
I got it. Almost need like ropes with buckets or something.
Yes, yeah, we've thought about putting another one there and having it come up and down with pulling it. But yeah, everything will come back here, we'll take it up, stage it, and then when it's ready, we'll bring it back down and roll it around to the front. But
so is it like in the morning or whenever he drops off?
Whenever it gets here. Usually UPS is here in the early afternoon, so and he'll just drop everything off at the front of the shop, right in the middle of where customers shop for a retail. So we'll quickly go get it and bring it back. And but it's really tight in here, so we really have to be really mindful of how our flow is, because as you can see, it'd be really easy for a garment to brush up against the press or brush up against ink and ruin shirts. So we've figured it out how to make the most of our space and be careful, but there's still those times where it feels too crammed in here and it kind of stresses everybody out.
So garments come over here, ink is prepped.
Ink is prepped over here. We've got anything that needs to get mixed, we mix on this table. Anything that we store and shelve, we put downstairs in the basement. So we'll run down there and grab the ink that, let's say it's just our standard 485 red that we use all the time. We'll go downstairs and grab that red and bring it up. But
are these the standards?
These are all, we switched to Monarch ink not long ago. They're mixing systems, so these are all Monarchs. They can be used standalone, and sometimes we do, but these are what makes up their mixing system.
Got it.
And then we use a combination of Matsui and Aquarius for water base and discharge.
Very cool. And this looks like is this like a cooking, like a kitchen table?
Yeah, it is. We had a place at our old warehouse that was going out of business, and they liquidated all of their restaurant equipment. So we bought maybe 4 or 5 of these, and they've been awesome.
It seems smart
for the
to
shop.
Clean though too is the biggest thing.
Yep. They're great.
Versus a wood top. Okay, so ink mix here. It's all kept here. Staging's behind us, and then what was downstairs?
Downstairs is all of our pre-press. So come on down there, and I'll show you how that works. We can come this way. This dryer, it's an old M&R Sprint gas dryer. It used to run this way in the shop, and then when we got this press, we had to go this way and take off a section of the dryer, and another nightmare to move, but you know, it still works. It's still a great dryer. It's a testament to M&R as well that they make really good dryers that last a long time with minimal maintenance. So,
what was the thought behind buying a second press?
We had 2 thoughts for it. One was that we were getting bottlenecked where we were A lot of our orders were taking up to 3 weeks, and we just started to figure out that it would probably be quicker if we had 2 employees up here, one running each press individually instead of having 2 people on one press, a puller and a catcher. Having a loader and a puller. Having a loader and a puller is obviously a little bit faster, but the improvement is not enough to outweigh having a second press with one operator on each press. So we just see that now if we were getting, let's just say 3 jobs done a day with a single operator, now maybe we get 5 jobs on average done a day having 2 presses. So it just makes sense from cash flow and productivity and turnaround time to have both presses in here.
Got it.
And we also were able to now start using the second press for retail whenever we need to, instead of doing it on a manual like we used to.
Cool.
If you want to squeeze through here, so coming into the basement, another example of using the space the best we can. We repurposed this shelving unit that was already here to hold all of our screens, so we have our screen management system over here. And kind of the life cycle of the screen is basically along this entire wall here, where we have a rock pre-press system or a PRU, then expose the screens using an old Ambergraph single light source unit, and then we have our washout and reclaim area at the end over there. So it's still it's not the most efficient system in the world, but it works. But probably the next upgrade in our shop would hope to be some sort of automation down here, whether it's a CTS or an auto reclaim if we could, or something in that area that might help our single employee down here save some time and be able to make more use of his time.
Got it. Got it. And oh shoot, we have this side. Yeah. And are you printing posters here too?
The plan is to start printing posters. We found a set of those from a shop in Midland a few years ago for a really good deal, and so we bought them with the hope that we could get them refurbished and start using them for flat stock printing.
Nice. So I also noticed, which is neat, is how you guys store your film. So this is all
This is an old baker's rack.
Baker's rack, I love it.
And we even use the baker's trays. And so everything's put in alphabetically, and every 6 months or so we'll go through here and weed it out and take out jobs that we don't think we're going to ever reprint. But for the most part, these are all jobs that we need to catalog, and we'll probably reprint at some point. And yeah, it's worked pretty well. One thing I'd like to do at some point if we had the space, we were at Mind's Eye Graphics a few years ago for a workshop, and he had a really cool, I think his name was Greg, had a really cool system there where all of his films were in boxes cataloged, but he also had a test print on a piece of fabric of every job on the front of it. So you could go back and see exactly how the job is printed with a visual. And that I think would be so helpful for any shop, because as we all know, sometimes what we write on the outside of this folder that we did for the job, it may change, or something may have gone on during the press, or you might have added more pigment or done something to the ink that wasn't exactly like you thought or planned, and it'd be good to have something visual there to see exactly how the print looked.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Or like if you're talking about the automation, then your film lists like
I know. Oh, that would be the dream. That'd be the dream. Yep.
Very cool. Okay, so pre-press and stuff. Wait, and
ink storage.
Ink storage. Got it. All over here.
We also have a second exposure unit here that we usually will use to tape up films and cover pinholes and things like that. But yeah, all of our inks that we store is right here. It's a mess, and there could be a better system for that, but we just threw it up and make do with it. Then back here is just more storage. It's a mess. It's a total mess. Every shop has that dirty closet, you know.
The attic.
Yeah, the attic. In this case, the basement.
All right, and then speaking of which,
yep.
Second floor.
All right, so moving up to the second floor. So moving up here, we've got, like I said earlier, it's the same layout and dimensions as this main floor. And we're in the middle of trying to make an office and workspace separated up here. Ooh. So it's under construction right now, but this is a wall that we just built about a month or two ago. And we found these really cool old European doors, stained glass doors. So the hope is to redo the glass and put some cool like gold flake writing on it. And then in here,
very cool. Oh, wow, that is a low door handle.
yeah, very low.
I mean, it's hard to get to perspective, but there's your kneecap, and there's the door handle.
Yeah.
This space is beautiful.
Yeah, this is an amazing view of the square. These original walls have been used for countless photo sessions. People ask us all the time, hey, I'm doing this thing for a bridal shoot or for product photography or whatever it is. And they love to use this wall because of the combination of the texture of it and just the natural sunlight coming in from these windows. Right. It's beautiful. So we are trying to make the most of this space up here. We're gonna put some desks up here, try to get it AC'd. We've got a bar set up. So yeah, the goal is to have this as a mixed workspace where we can do music up here, have an office. We do have a manual press up here. I still do most of all the retail printing up here so that I don't take up the autos downstairs. So usually lately during the day, I'll be up here restocking our retail.
Yeah, I mean, I could see why you want to make it the office now.
It's incredible.
I mean, just the window.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And at Christmas time, they've got a really neat tree lighting out on the middle of the square, and so that you can see it from up here. And we've had a gal come up here and do art shows before. It's great, and we just want to use it more. We haven't been the best about utilizing it to the best of its ability. And if you walk through here, on the other side, you can see Henry's over at the other end of this floor where we've got all of our boxes out for jobs that are coming up. He's probably either looking for a job right now or sorting one out. So for the most part, these are jobs that we have coming up or customers that have us store garments for them, which is a lot of this side of the shop. These are garments that we'll print at some future date that the customer just wanted to secure during COVID because stock was such a nightmare that they said, hey, those hoodies are in stock, let's go ahead and order 1,000 of them, just hold them and then we'll print them at some point.
Sure. If anybody's wondering, this is where the hat stock is.
Yep, all of the hats that we do. This used to be an elevator in the shop.
If somebody's out of stock, we know where to find them.
Yeah.
Wait, so this, oh, you mean like an elevator down?
Yes.
Oh, okay, so this is another one.
Yeah, this is another one, and at some point they took it out of service, and now that's our kitchen. It's a little kitchenette down there. Yeah, it's crazy. It's a lot of history in this place. If you walk down here to this side, this is Henry.
What's up, Henry? Sorry, we're in your way.
So like we looked at earlier, here's your space where the lift comes up and down.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to make a wrong step over here. Cool.
And you had asked about boxes earlier. Those are all the boxes that we had printed for us that are all stocked over there.
Oh, nice.
So,
Pack Lane?
Pack Lane, yeah.
You like working with them?
This was our first time to work with them, and we ordered so many at that time because of it made sense price-wise that.
Oh, with the dyes and
they were great. It took a few weeks, maybe 4 or 5 weeks to get them in, and they've been awesome. I can't recommend enough for any shop to take the effort to do branded boxes. I know some people don't think it's worth it, but man, I'm a firm believer in branding as much as you can. I think it's so important for your shop to be known for something and to just separate yourself from other shops, and that's usually through your branding.
For sure. Love it. And so then these are all then replaced out.
Yes.
When they're done downstairs?
Yes, when they're done downstairs. Okay. So what Henry's doing right now is he's taking the shirts, separating them, putting them on these. I think
and more of the kitchen tables.
More of the kitchen tables. Yeah. So Henry uses these trays that we store film on. Uh-huh. He covers them with a T-shirt so that it doesn't dirty the shirts, and then stacks the shirts on this. And this is what we use to take the shirts downstairs and put it on a rack or a cart.
Okay,
and so-
do these sit on the elevator floor, or do you like to try to stack them to get all them all down?
They'll sit on the elevator floor.
Got it. Any other cool little tricks or things you guys have iterated on to improve?
Well, I mean, the ultimate goal would one day that we could justify resupporting this floor, getting a true elevator in here and being able to do production up here. I think that as we grow, there's going to become a point where we'll need another press, or maybe this would be used for more of our pre-press, but I just think that this space up here could be used better, but we just can't yet because we're a little bit limited by what this floor can support. So
For sure.
that'd be the next thing. I just don't know what the timeline would be on that.
Makes sense. Well, next time I bring my laptop, I'm going to be
Yes,
right
get out by
the
that
couch.
window. Yep, absolutely.
This is Norman Roscoe. Thanks so much, Ranger,
Thanks,
for
Bruce.
showing everybody around. You guys can check him out. Is it just at Norman Roscoe?
Yep, at Normon_Roscoe on Instagram, and then www.normanroscoe.com.
Heck yeah. All right. We'll see you guys in the next shop tour.